Okay, we are back with another amazing podcast from the Social Media Cowboys. I am Chris Hoke.
I'm DJ Hunter.
So we've done some guests on our podcast, and that's great. But I think I'd like to shift gears and do some podcasts that are more topical. I think that if we were Joe Rogan, we'd probably get away with doing guests all the time. But since we're not Joe Rogan, we're no Rogan. We might just keep it to some topics that maybe people would like to hear about. And one of the things that we have had a lot of experience with is pest control, doing social media and online marketing for pest control. So do you have some initial thoughts on what you own a pest control company, DJ? What's the first thing you do besides kill bugs?
Make sure people know my phone number.
Right.
So that they're not calling the wrong phone number or a dead phone number or old phone number, or if I have an office location, having the right address.
That's helpful. Yeah.
So they don't go to the wrong place or whatever.
Yeah, if they go to drop off the payment for a bill, they don't want to drop it off at the wrong pest control company or a restaurant. It's like, hey, it's a restaurant. Let me give you a pest control payment.
Yeah.
That'd be bad. But why is it important to have? I know the reason, but I want to ask you for the podcast. Why is it important to have all that information correct on the big wide World Wide Web?
It helps you with your ranking. If you have different numbers on different things or different, website addresses or different physical addresses, then Google will look at it and say, oh, those aren't the same places, so let's push them farther down.
Yeah.
or whatever. But when you have it all working together, it helps. First of all, if somebody types in your phone number or your address or something, they're going to find you easier. And then Google just realizes you're a legit business, so they'll boost you up higher on the search engines.
Yeah, we've been doing, we did 10 years worth of pest control so far. We're 10 years into doing pest control online marketing. I guess if you added our time together, it'd be like something close to 20 years of combined marketing, and just that's for whatever reasons been one of the type of companies we've done a lot of. We didn't really start out looking for that; it just sort of happened that way. Really competitive industry online for keywords. And speaking of keywords, so it all starts with the website. You would agree, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what is probably a common mistake you see pest control companies make with their website? Is it just like, hey, let me just go get a Weebly or whatever? What's one of the really bad ones? One of those like
Weebly.
Yeah, like
GoDaddy.
Yeah, GoDaddy like website up and just they did it themselves, or like they have their kid do it or something like that, or their neighbor who's really good with computers do the website. And then but what happens if they just do a website and that's it, and they didn't really put any thought into it? What happens?
Yeah. If the person who's building it, or if it's not, super good quality site like a WordPress or Wix, or hand coded, if you really need something that big, you're not going to get the benefits of all the back end stuff like the keywords or putting articles on there or your social media stuff just to get better hits. Because a lot of the stuff like GoDaddy or any of the funky things, or if you use like a directory listing company and they just give you like one of those little, I wouldn't call it a landing page. I don't even know what you call it. It's just like a funky little page with your stuff on it. That's not really going to help you because it's just a one page with not a lot of stuff. So, and a lot of people are like, well, why do I even need a website with social media or stuff? But you want to drive. Yeah. You can't do all the keyword stuff on your social media sites that you can on a website. So you basically got to use them to drive people to your website.
Yeah, we've always called it the guide to success. Well, no, we always called it that way, but we developed what we called a guide to success, where it all starts with your website. Then you want to set up all of the platforms to have all that information, as you talked about first, with the right numbers and excuse me, with the right addresses and contact emails and things like that. All that to help the organic work with the website. So really important that if you don't start off with home base, I mean, you and I are football fans, and you got that big old Patriot sign right behind your head. So as of this recording, they just won their season opener with Cam. So hopefully we won't watch this video 5 months from now and be hopefully it stays that way for you, right?
I think we'll be all right.
I think you'll be all right too. But anyway, if your offensive line, using the football analogy, or defensive line isn't solid, no matter how fast the receiver you have or how strong arm your quarterback, if he gets a 3-step drop and he's sacked, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So the fundamentals are get that website, keywords and stuff like that. If unless you're a neighbor or that your kid is an actual web designer, you probably don't have the website you think you got. You really need to have a professional. And it doesn't have to be expensive. That doesn't have to equal thousands of dollars. We do them. We have a real reasonable package that we do it for. And if you don't use us, and there's reasonable ways to get a website out there. It doesn't have to be us, but you get a real pro that knows what they're doing.
Just got to be done right. That's all that matters.
Got to be done right. I mean, how many times we usually have, what about a website a month where you're just fixing some person's mistakes?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like a mechanic, somebody else worked on it and they screwed it up. Mechanic has to come in and,
Yep.
fix whatever fundamental problem the other person didn't get right. So,
and we do a lot of that with Google My Business and social media stuff. That's all messed up.
Lots of it. And then if you have somebody else build a third party, make sure you have ownership of your stuff. Make sure you have management access or ownership access to Google My Business and admin rights to the Facebook page and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen other companies hold that kind of stuff hostage.
Yeah.
And the website's hostage as well. So if I'm a guy in a small town, excuse me, and I do pest control, and I've got a good website and I'm fairly active on social media, what would be the next step, to do some outreach marketing so you get our third step on the road to success? What would be something that would be good to do?
One thing I would say is if you have all the stuff, is first stay consistent. They'll just post once a month or every couple of weeks or something like that. That's the biggest problem. Is I have everything, but I never post or whatever. But then there's things you can do like geofencing or, Google AdWords or Facebook ads, things like that, which just increases your reach pretty much.
Yeah. And we're big fans of Google ads and geofencing. We tend to do that. Well, Facebook boosts as well, but we tend to get a lot of those type clients. I mean, one of the things about geofencing, if you don't know what geofencing is, if you take your cell phone and you just draw a grid around a certain area, any cell phone that goes in there, it gets the IP address and solicits banners to their phone via web browsers or the apps they use, etc. And one of the interesting things that we've seen done with pest control is to take and put a grid around the Home Depot pest control section, and things like that, as well as you can do you can geotarget a neighbor and stuff, but a smaller area, do places where people would go and they have a problem. And they're on the pest control aisle at Home Depot or Lowe's for a reason. Hit them with it and see if you can't get something, or the garden section or things like that they would go to. Where would they go? I mean, we get ants for some reason. This one room is the only room that gets ants. So I have to put bait out on the regular for some reason. Only this room. So you catch me, every once in a while the pest control aisle at Walmart or something. That'd be a good spot to hit up a potential client for them. But one thing, I go back to social media. The times change. Since COVID hit, memes are huge. I'm not so sure we shouldn't just post only memes anymore. It's the only thing people really want to see. I mean, you see somebody post on Facebook now, something heartfelt, you're kind of show me memes.
Yeah.
But Do you think there's advantage to using memes for a business?
Yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages. It pretty much depends on the business
Right.
because it's always, it's the same thing that people always say: 80% not your business and 20% your business.
Yeah.
On doing posts, because if you just your business stuff, people will be like, nah. But if you mix
Yeah.
it in with funny stuff or tips or whatever,
Right.
people are more apt to read it or look at it or engage or whatever. But people always like funny stuff, just because.
People want to be entertained. They always want to be entertained. Something cool, something really visually cute, cool or funny. People love humor. Do you think things have changed much because of COVID? Do you feel a shift at all? That's something we really talked about. I'm kind of springing this on you on air.
I think people are just tired of all the seriousness and all that kind of stuff. I know I am.
That's the sense I get
Yeah.
Between politics and COVID, everybody's kind of like, just needs a break.
Yeah.
And memes are one way to do that. And I think brands should really consider, even if you personally are more reserved, or you personally are more, very, I don't know, I guess reserved is the only word I can think of. Very reserved individual. Think about what your audience is. Maybe you personally are, and you wouldn't post a silly meme. You think, oh, that's just silly, a waste of time. But that's what your audience wants, not what you want. You need to make money from these people, from the masses, and they're your clients. So sometimes you have to put your own personality on the back burner and just do something that works for people in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a movie nut. And if I made every post on our own platform about movies, I mean, people are like, is this a movie site or are y'all a marketing firm? It wouldn't make sense,
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work to just always indulge on your own sensibilities. Doesn't make sense to do that.
Yeah.
So website, make sure everything is uniform. Use social media to your advantage, and then do some targeted marketing like geofencing or Google ads, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is a reasonable timeline to see results? If I come to you, I'm a brand new company, and I'm like, okay, I'm brand new, I'm coming around of the gate, just do my stuff.
Yeah.
What do we typically tell people? Like, hey, you can start seeing things change. How long?
It can vary depending on like what type of industry you're in, but like at the very bare minimum, I would say 3. But for stuff to really start rocking, it's usually 6 months.
Yeah.
Just because that's how long, when you're starting brand new, that's just how long certain.
That's organics you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, if you do the paid stuff, you can do it. It can immediately. I mean, people will see that overnight.
Have paid stuff. Yeah.
Organic stuff though, to build up, to show up on Google and Hot Frog and all these third-party sites and stuff, it takes anywhere from probably 6 to 8 weeks for them to go through their systems. There's some stuff we use third-party tools for, and that's what they say. Hey, it takes 6 to 8 weeks for all our stuff to push out to all the different websites.
So yeah, I mean, it's really important to understand the difference and why you have organics and paid stuff like that. And that's the reason why you should make a decision sooner rather than later, and come up with some kind of budget and find a company. We have low end pricing for this very reason, and we have full scale, expensive stuff too. But the reason why we create a smaller package, there's some companies are just so new, they don't have a big budget. But we're like, we understand they need something. So if the longer you wait, time's going to pass whether you do this or not. Yeah. So you might as well go ahead and do it and let this stuff start working for your advantage. It's like somebody said, when you like self-improve, like dieting or exercise like that, a year is going to pass anyway. But if you're not happy with, your weight or something like that, at least let the year pass where you're doing something about it and trying to get under control. And next thing you know, a year will pass and you'll have these results and you look back on it and be proud of. Same thing with online. If you just let the time pass and not work on this stuff, a year from now, you're like, hey, how come we don't do anything online? Well, start now and, it'll get better. And that's why you have exactly right. It's why you have the paid stuff, is because the organics take a minute to get rolling. So yeah, I mean, the last thing I guess I'll leave with, the domain age to go along with this conversation about time passing. the domain age matters, doesn't it, on
Yep.
Google Rank?
Yeah. It's like you always say, you always give the analogy of like with your online stuff, it's kind of like you compare it to a credit card score.
Right.
It works the same way. The longer you have it and the better it all is and all with the same stuff, the higher you're going to rank.
Yeah. Google, the search engine results are a lot like a credit score.
Yep.
The age of credit matters. The income to debt ratio matters. All those factors create a number through their algorithm to produce a result. Like, hey, you have a 620, a 720 credit score or whatever. Search engine the same way. How's your website? What's the age of the domain? How many keywords are hitting? What's their social media like, etc. And that produces a result. So it all matters. It's all like a credit score. The sooner you get on top of it, the better.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We have a lot of experience with pest control, and we thought we'd make these podcasts and YouTube videos more topical. So when somebody does a search and finds it there, that'd be helpful. Instead of us just, you and I could just joke around for 20 minutes every podcast, but, you know, that we'd actually make something that people could could benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
If people really want to see us clown around, maybe we'll have to do a second podcast of just
yeah. Or we just stream on Twitch and they can watch us there.
Yeah, we can just stream on Twitch and goof off over there.
Yeah.
But all right, well, we both have fun, but we wanted to do some stuff. Well, I think 99% of our job is we usually have fun, but we wanted to do a few things that people actually find to get helpful. So if we can help you with these things, what's the website, DJ?
Socialmediacowboys.com.
I'm not going to give you a phone number because I think we're fixing to change it. So just go to socialmediacowboys.com, or you can always email info@socialmediacowboys.com. Yep. And if we change the phone number, which I think we're about to do, we'll put the phone number in the YouTube description later when we change it. But go to the website. You'll find us there.
Yep.
All right. Say goodbye, DJ.
See ya.